Hey everyone, Stephanie here. So I've been playing Duelyst on and off for about 3 weeks now, and I'm happy to say that at the end of February season I placed Gold, rank 10. So the way the ranks work in this game, you start at Bronze as a beginner and then you rank up to Silver, Gold, Diamond, and the highest rank is called S rank. And the ranks reset at the beginning of each month, but you start at a different rank depending on how well you placed in the previous month. So because I placed Gold in February, for March they started me at Silver. This means that, people who are new to the game and starting at Bronze will not be pulling me. And this makes it a lot fairer for everybody and also makes it easier for each person to focus on their own growth as a duelist. Another thing that's really nice is that regardless of wins or losses, you earn experience simply for participation, and you basically level up in each faction depending on how much you play each faction. Right now I've accumulated the most experience with Songhai, but I am enjoying all of the factions. There's another feature I really like, which is the match history. So basically the game automatically records all of your matches for you, and you can go back and replay them at any time from your profile. You can also share them with friends. And basically what this does is that it makes it so you don't have to manually record each and every match. You can just go back and replay the ones that you remember as being the most meaningful, or the ones that have the most to learn from. And it also creates a culture where everybody understands that their matches are being recorded all the time. So people tend to be generally quite open about sharing their strategies and sharing their matches. And it also makes it so that the question of whether someone is so-called good or not is a lot more objective, because you don't have to rely on rumor and gossip. You can just, see someone's rank history, exactly who they faced and when. And you can also see details like how many hours they spent on the game. Maybe it's just that I'm new and I'm seeing everything through rose-colored glasses, but so far I'm really enjoying this game and I definitely look forward to playing more of it. So my win-loss ratio is actually not that great, as you can see. That's because I am still new and I'm still learning. However, I am having quite a lot of fun with the puzzles and boss battles. So today I would like to share with you a boss battle that I played. So far, I have not spent any money on this game, but simply by participating in the quests and stuff, I have started to build up a little bit of a card collection. There's over 900 cards to collect in this game, so people who are willing to spend money, they can buy more cards basically. They can also buy cosmetic things like profile icons, card skins, which will adjust the appearance of their cards, emojis and stuff like that. So before we go into the deck that I built for this boss, let me just show you the description for the boss. Basically, every couple of days, a new boss is made available for players to fight, and it's only available for a short time, which makes the boss fight really exciting. And once you defeat the boss, you get extra cards as rewards, basically. So here's the description. Cindera, the flame-bound trials unlock the full potential of the user, causing their own blood to become volatile and destructive. They channel this fury and anger into the energy surrounding them to devastating results. Be wary of her explosive potential. So the unique thing about this boss is that at the beginning of each turn, she teleports to a random spot on the map, and whenever she hits, she has this ability called Frenzy, which means that she's able to hit all enemy minions who are next to each other. And also all of her minions, whenever they die, they deal an extra 2 damage to all nearby minions. So this boss basically has a very, very high damage output. And I tried a bunch of different strategies before I was finally able to defeat her. The strategy that I ended up going with was a liner healing strategy. And this deck does include a few cards that are not immediately available to beginners. You kind of have to complete a bunch of quests and save up some gold or just get lucky with a free daily card to craft this stuff, but it is achievable within just a few days of playing. So basically the main components of this deck are the Owlbeast Sage. This costs 100 spirit to craft, so as you can see I can disenchant cards which will add to my spirit total at the top here. So basically when I accumulate cards that I don't want, I can disenchant them, get some spirit, and craft the cards that I do want. So the Owlbeast Sage is the main thing that's really important in this deck. A couple of other cards that were helpful were Mana Forger. This is also fairly cheap, costs 100 spirit, and I believe those two are the main ones. There's also Sundrop Elixir, which is pretty cheap as well, 40 spirit. I think these three are really the main ones. So the idea is that I keep on restarting the game until I get an Owlbeast Sage to start with, and then I tank the boss's attacks through my heals. So I have stuff like this, Sundrop, you know, bunch of other different spells, and also this general's Bloodbound spell is a heal spell. So each time I cast any kind of spell, the Owlbeast Sage increases by 2 health. So it starts at 4 attack, 4 health, and then every time I cast a spell, the health goes up until eventually it gets to something crazy like 20 something health. And then at that point, I use what's called Divine Bond. This is a free-to-play card. It gives minion plus attack equal to its health, and then it makes the Owlbeast Sage into a really powerful minion, and at that point I just one-shot the boss. So that's the battle plan. Took a couple of tries to make this work, but I was really happy when it worked out. So let me just show you the replay of this match. And so this was my opening hand. The boss says, "May your ashes blow away." And I discarded these two because I wanted to start with a faster opening, so I replaced the Healing Mystic and I drew an Owlbeast Sage, which was really good. But I can't cast it yet because it's 4 mana, so I just cast a 3 mana minion, and I moved to the back here because the obelisk in the middle here summons a dervish every round, and basically the dervish punches for 3 damage, and when it dies it does an additional 2 damage. So at first I was trying to get rid of the obelisk, but I was just taking way too much damage from standing in the middle, and I decided to play more defensively this time. So the boss teleported over here, and I was very lucky to draw a second Owlbeast Sage. So what I did here was I played 1 Owlbeast Sage, then I kept on sticking to the border, and in order to prevent the Sun Elemental from doing like the 2 damage to me and my Owlbeast, I decided to just trade my 3 mana minion for it. So the dervish here is basically not a threat. It's gonna disappear at the end of each round. The boss summoned a 5 attack, 5 health minion with provoke. And here are my Bloodbound spell charged. So what I decided to do was, because I had 5 mana at this point, I decided to play my second Owlbeast Sage and then just use the Bloodbound spell. So because each Owlbeast gets +2 health whenever I cast any spell, the 2 Owlbeast Sages get +4 each. And I drew a Mana Forger. And the dervish is again not doing anything. The 5/5 is moving forward and attacking my general. And Cindera's Bloodbound spell recharged, which is Living Flame, deal 2 damage to an enemy and summon 2 spell sparks. So she summoned this 5/6 minion and cast the Bloodbound spell on me, doing 2 damage, and then the spell sparks have rush so they can attack immediately, and it's gonna do 1 damage to me and then die and do an additional 2 damage to both me and my Owlbeast. So yeah, at this point my general is running pretty low on health. And to prevent that second spell spark from doing more mischief, I cast True Strike on it, which is another spell. So each of my Owlbeasts again increases by 4 health. I move one of the Owlbeasts to a safe spot, bring out the Mana Forger, and then use Martyrdom to destroy the 5/6. And then I use my Owlbeast to punch the other minion. So at this point, my general has taken quite a beating. However, I've also set up quite a lot of stuff. And I was really unlucky here that the dervish spawned in that square and was able to do 5 damage to me. And I was also unlucky that the boss teleported so close to us. So at this point, it was a really clutch moment. She summoned a minion that does 3 damage to both generals, and I tanked by 1 health. However, I do have a lot of recovery options, so I played this minion, Cindera, who restores 3 health to my general every time I cast my Bloodbound spell. So I cast my Bloodbound spell. Each of my Owlbeasts further powers up by 4 health. The Cindera heals me for 3. I cast my Sundrop, healing myself for 5. And at this point, I made a slight misplay. I moved this Owlbeast up within range of the Warlock, and I gave it Divine Bond. So this Owlbeast is going to be my main hitter, but I really shouldn't have moved it that quickly because I should have gotten rid of the Warlock first. So it took an unnecessary 2 extra damage there. Now the boss teleported into that corner, which was unfortunate because I was hoping to use my Owlbeast to just finish off the boss. So because the boss teleported so far away, we have to try and survive until we can get within range to hit her. The dervish at this point went for my 3 mana minion. The 2 spell sparks are still far away, thankfully. The ranged minion does 3 damage to my Owlbeast. Oh, actually, that dervish went for my Mana Forger, fine by me, because the Mana Forger has a ridiculous amount of health. So at this point, what I decided to do was I decided to move my Owlbeast closer to the center. That way we have a higher chance of getting the boss when she teleports again at the beginning of next turn. So if she teleports anywhere within 2 squares of the Owlbeast in this area, I will be able to one-shot her. And also, my Owlbeast has enough health at this point to be able to tank whatever happens in the middle right here. So the enemy general unfortunately did not teleport nearby. And she's doing some damage to my Owlbeast with a spell. She does move closer. But at this point, I was still unable to one-shot her. And my poor Owlbeast is taking quite a beating. And the boss just spent the mana on summoning more creatures at the top there. So my concern at this point was to so I replaced the Mana Forger hoping for a Martyrdom, because that way if I got rid of this, then the Owlbeast would have been able to move into that square and one-shot the boss, but that didn't happen. So I did draw the Silver Guard Knight, which was the next best thing to do. So I used my Bloodbound spell to heal the Owlbeast and then punched that Owlbeast in the middle, and then I played my Silver Guard in that spot right there to prevent the 4/4 and the Spell Spark from reaching my big Owlbeast in the middle. Then a general teleports again, thankfully within range of my Owlbeast this time. So we basically just needed to tank this one round, and then we'll be able to finish off the battle next round. So because my Silver Guard Knight has Provoke, it stops enemy minions and generals from moving. They must attack this first when they're next to it. So these two guys were unable to hurt my Owlbeast here. The Chaos Elemental did teleport into this annoying spot, but thankfully the other two spots were open. Okay, and so here I was able to move my Owlbeast into the one open square and one-shot the boss. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this battle. It took me at least 6 or 7 tries. Definitely not an easy boss, but very, very rewarding once I defeated it. So from defeating that boss, the new card that I got was Blue Conjurer, which normally is quite expensive. I was really happy to get this card. Whenever you cast a spell, put a random Arcanist into your action bar. So yeah, I definitely look forward to building out my collection further, experimenting with more strategies, and playing in the puzzles and PvP matches. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.